You want it? You got it. Reality radio done right. No nonsense, real and raw, just like you like it.
He's corrupt, he's inexperienced, and he lies.
Broadcasting from a broom closet in the Arizona Lotus Studios, it's Beef Vegan Presents.
Yo. Good morning, Tucson, and welcome to a new and improved Beef Vegan Presents. I am your host, Beef Vegan. My guest this morning is DJ Lance Fairchild.
What up, what up?
Yeah, so we got a lot of stuff to go to today, but first, let me just say this. This is a new and improved show. I met with our consultant and managers yesterday. It was my first meeting on the morning show, which was a big deal. I was excited about it. One takeaway they told me is that I'm not saying Rock 102.1 enough. I'm just not saying it enough. You know, and in radio and everything, you got to say the station so people know the station that they're listening to, Rock 102.1. So, you know, that's something that I learned, and I am going to utilize as much as Rock 102.1 possible today. Okay, so if you hear me say Rock 102.1, it's just me doing my job because I love Rock 102.1, doing my job and doing it right. So with that, they also went over some notes like, I'm the everyman. I'm just this big dummy who's lucky to be here is kind of the takeaway. Then I didn't know how to take that. And then I started thinking about the imaging for the show. They put together the imaging on the show. It's little sweepers like, hey, you're listening to Beef Vegan Presents, and then it will do like a soundbite. And the soundbite will be like, he's so dumb, he wears a helmet when he swims. Rock 102.1. I'm like, okay. Is this how they really think of me? Over the last 5 years, I played several different Rock 102.1 roles on the air. I was a co-host, sidekick, right? Rock 102.1, and I was also a foil, like a third mic. Now, I did these roles well, Rock 102.1, and the reason why, when I did these roles well, like I learned all different roles of how to do a morning show. But before I was the sidekick, Rock 102.1, I was a show host, and I was a very good show host for 7.5 years. I just had to continue to kind of learn and fill my Rock 102.1, my role on air. And they don't know this, I don't think. I don't know. They just basically say, hey, you're just so dumb, people like you, Rock 102.1. And I don't necessarily disagree with that. In fact, actually, I came up with a theory, Rock 102.1, years ago. I call it the Kelso theory. And the Kelso theory is like this. I came across a study that said the more intelligent, Rock 102.1, you are, the less people like you. This is a fact, okay? So the smarter you are, the less people like you. Well, I believe that the opposite is true. The dumber you are, Rock 102.1, the more people will like you. And that's the Kelso, like from that 70s show theory. If you think about popular movie icons or television show icons, they're usually like the big dummies, the himbos, the ditzes. Those are the most likable characters, Rock 102.1. So I don't mind being liked, and I don't mind being perceived as kind of a dummy, but because I'm not necessarily a genius. Nobody's called me a genius, but at the same time, I don't drool when I speak, Rock 102.1. So it's not like I can't tie my shoes. Like, I know what I'm doing. There is a plan there, but you can't necessarily see that if you're tuning in for the first time. You're like, who is this guy that replaced Rock 102.1? Riley. If I listen to the show and the imaging on the show, it sounds like, he's just this big dumb a-hole. And that's kind of my takeaway, Rock 102.1, that I get when talking to my managers. And these are the people that are kind of supporting the show. They're like, hey, man, we believe in you, kind of. This big idiot, he's just lucky to be here. Lucky? Busting my ass for 13 years? Doing it for next to nothing? Rock 102.1. Lucky? I don't know. I've achieved some things, and that's the thing about it, too. It's like, these people that consider you lucky in life, when you keep on winning, it's like, okay, well, that's fine. You could call me lucky, but I keep racking up those W's. I keep on winning in life. I keep on setting and achieving goals. So how stupid can I be, Rock 102.1? So I had to let that off my chest. I had to vent. you know? So maybe this is a message to the consultants, Rock 102.1, and managing Rock 102.1, is that I know how to do my job, Rock 102.1, and I will do it, Rock 102.1, well, even when I trip over the station call letters, Rock 102.1. That is my address this morning. Good morning to you. Just be ready. I'm going to say Rock 102.1 more times than you could count. And if you have a diary, then Rock 102.1, right? All right, we have so many things that we're going to get to today on the air and on the stream, but on the air, coming up at 6:30, we're going to take a trip down the Fess hole. This is a Twitter page I came across. It's confessions that people are posting anonymously. So I'm going to share a confession of mine, not so anonymous, but if you feel like you need to get something off your chest, then now would be the time to do it. 600 KFMA, or you could do it at 6:30. You don't have to give your real name. You could use an alias. We're going to do that. We're going to also get to know Lance Fairchild, my friend who's hanging out with me every Thursday morning, because one of the notes from the consultants and management is that I'm not doing a great job introducing and establishing the personalities that are on the show. People don't know the premise of the show because Rock 102.1, the show itself and the way that it's set up is much different than shows that you've heard before. We have a rotating cast of characters, reoccurring cast of characters, personalities in Rock 102.1 that are driven and talented, just like myself. And that's why they're part of this team. And with that, you're going to get to know them. So we're going to get to know Lance a little bit better. Plus, we're also going to be playing Pop Goes the Evil. That's a game that will give away tickets for Pop Evil. And I have a ton of FC Tucson tickets to give away. I might Rock 102.1 do that in one big game later on. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, we get joined by Justin Spears from ESPN Radio and talk some sports about the Suns that happened last night, which wasn't a great turnout, but there were some highlights, and we look forward to Game 5 and see what the potential outcome of the series may be and do some predictions. That's all coming up. And also the KFMA radar is going to be this hour, Rock 102.1. So much show, so much content. We are loaded up. And we're going to kick things off with Nirvana. It's Rock 102.1.